Here are some people you don't want to mess with. This is Han Laoshi. He is one of the strongest men on the planet. He is an expert at kung fu, wushu, and boxing. Many say that this man is the real-life Bane. He is very muscular but also very fast. He can run at high speeds even with a tire attached to him. This man is named Wu Quang. He is able to break out of zip ties easily. He can also chop stones and bricks in half. Wu Quang can even break an apple just by flexing. This man is named Virto Pirbizarri. He is a bodybuilder and boxer. He is one of the strongest men in the world. Strongest women in the world. This is Julia Vins from Russia. She is known for her pretty face and strong physique. That's why her nickname is Barbie with Hulk muscles. She has arm wrestled many men on Asian TV. She began working out to boost her confidence, but she soon realized her passion for bodybuilding and is now one of the strongest women in all of Russia. This is Kristen Nunn. She's from Kansas and is one of the strongest women in the USA. She works out every day and mainly eats salmon, broccoli, and sweet potato. While she may look intimidating, she's a very kind-hearted person. This is Jessica Fithin. She is the strongest woman in the world. She can carry beer kegs over her head, as well as easily lift anvils and big tires. She says she's always been naturally strong, but since starting working out a few years ago, she is now unstoppable. People who gained real superpowers. One day, Jason Padgett was mugged and his head was injured. When he came out of a coma, the entire world looked like an old video game. Everything was pixelated and he began to see fractals everywhere. He could do any math equation he wanted in his head. One day, an Australian man named Ben McMahon was driving. That's when his car was T-boned. When Ben woke up from his coma, he spoke to the nurse in perfect Chinese. It took him days to remember how to speak English. In 2010, a Ugandan boy named Adroa was playing soccer. That's when a storm came in and his hut was struck by lightning. This turned his eyes bright blue. When Orlando Cyril was 10 years old, he was hit in the head with a baseball. Amazingly, this gave him a perfect memory. He can remember where he was and what he did on any given date. Give him any date and he can tell you what day of the week it was and what the weather was like too. Most dangerous women in the world. This is Samantha Luthwaite. She was a normal girl from the UK. That was until she married Jermaine Lindsay. Jermaine went on to carry out various bombings. At first, people thought Samantha had nothing to do with this, but it turned out she'd been vital in planning and organizing this entire thing. Before she could be arrested, she fled to Kenya where she lives today, and since 2007 has been behind many terrible attacks in Africa. Tamara Samsonova was seen as a normal grandmother in Russia, but she was later exposed as a serial killer. She would rent out a small room in her apartment to various men, but all of these men would end up missing. It turned out Tamara had been taking their lives and disposing of their bodies in nearby woods. These are the FBI's most wanted people. This is Robert Fisher. In 2001, he took the life of his wife and 2 kids. He then blew up their Arizona home. He's been on the run ever since. He was last seen in this video taken just one day before the crime. The FBI offers a $100,000 reward for this guy's capture. This is Simeon Mogilevich. He is the most feared and powerful gangster in all of Russia. He's wanted in the USA by the FBI. The reward for Simeon is $5 million. This is Eugene Palmer. In 2019, he took the life of his daughter-in-law and went on the run. The FBI reward for this man is $100,000. These are the most dangerous prison inmates in the world. This is Jason Barnum from Alaska, USA. He was a known burglar, but that's when one day a cop tried to arrest him. Jason then tried to end the cop's life with a firearm. Thankfully, the cop lived and Jason was arrested, but he soon went viral for his scary tattooed eye. This is Joseph James D'Angelo, better known as the Golden State Killer. In the 1970s, he burgled 120 people and took 13 people's lives. He was only caught in 2018. This was after new DNA evidence proved Joseph was the Golden State Killer. This is Michael Campbell. He looked like this in 2003, but 10 years later, he looked like this. He was arrested for crawling into a woman's bed while she slept. I really can't think of anything scarier than that. This man is so dangerous, no prison would accept him. Meet Charles Bronson. He is said to be the most dangerous prisoner in the world. He's been in prison for about 50 years. He first went to prison when he was only 22. This was because of an armed robbery. Inside prison, he had many fights. He was then transferred to a different prison, but in that prison he tried to break out, and also tried to poison a fellow inmate. He was then sent to a remote prison on the Isle of Wight. In the next prison, he took someone hostage and demanded a helicopter and a cup of tea. He was then put in solitary confinement where he took a guard hostage. He was then moved to a Hannibal cage where he took yet another guard hostage. He was moved to another prison where he took 3 people hostage, and then moved to another where he took 2 more people hostage. Right now he's in the maximum security Wood Hill prison where he may remain for the rest of his life. People who are 1 in a million. This is Jyoti Amji from India. She may look like a small kid, but she's 28 years old. She is the smallest woman in the world, measuring at only 2 feet. She is now a famous actress in India. This is Jeff Dabe from the United States. He has the world's biggest hands. He can crush a can easily. He's also a professional arm wrestler too. This is Anastasia Pekreshkuk from Ukraine. She spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on having the world's biggest cheeks, but she says they're still not big enough. Looking at old photos of her, you can see just how much she's changed. This is Sultan Kozan. He's a farmer from Turkey, but he's also the world's tallest man. He's a massive 8 feet and 2 inches tall, and a few years back he even met the world's smallest man.